All right, how's everybody doing? Check out that new intro from the amazing Tape Damage James Esparza. Really appreciate it. He actually threw that together tonight, and I'm running a little behind. Everything's kind of crazy. Bit of a traffic jam tonight, so I don't even know who at all is going to be here to watch. I like to be very forthcoming about everything that's going on around in our community, but David, aka Viva Fries, running over. Looks like he'll be going on for a while. And Nate the lawyer has started a show at 9 o'clock too. So we are in a complete YouTube traffic jam because Uncivil's on with Nate, Allison's on with me, Viva's running over. So we're scrappy now. We're fighting for whatever items we have. And of course, the first thing I see coming in the gate is the illustrious Mike Bruno wanting to shit on my day. Thank you very much, sir.
Don't give him the attention. It's like I can tell you're not the parent of a toddler because you don't understand the psyop that you have to run as a parent. Don't reinforce the bad behavior.
Yeah, I know. I do my best, and but however, I am mortal. I am blonde. I am dumb. What do you want? Get over it. Headline of the day. I'm going to screw with our order a little bit, Allison, that we talked about, but It is the late breaking news.
Okay. Jussie. I'm looking for the stream right now so I can share it on locals. It's not as easy to find anymore.
Laid back news. It's a channel.
I got it. Okay. Here it is.
Sorry about that. I did tag you on YouTube too. Awesome. Okay. And okay, the big news of the day. And I'm going to do a little bit of a victory lap on it because I freaking called this. Jussie is going to be released on bond. He hasn't even got a weekend, folks. This is what being connected is all about. Is you can make a phone call or others can make a phone call for you. You're connected to the Obamas. The Obamas are connected to Chicago. What do you expect? This is why last Friday I was so happy that the judge made sure that he went to jail that day, because this is the only time I thought that Jussie was going to actually see any time. And I think that that judge knew it as well. And that's why he put it forth and had him start serving the sentence today. I was skeptical about it. And by the way, I do a show with Nate the lawyer every Sunday. And I did say, I don't even know if we'll make it out a week, but I knew that that judge knows that the courts are slow enough that he would at least be guaranteed to serve the weekend. And then it would take, a day or two or whatever to get the appeals in, even on an emergency. So we've got everything that was going on. We're probably looking at the entire sentence. I'm sure by the time the appeals are run through, it'll haggle, back and forth. And it'll be a matter of like, maybe they'll tack on more probation or this or that, but or he'll serve some BS thing, but the guy's not going to serve any more time. And again, I'm not trying to put him away for life. My high point was I wanted to see him go away for 30 days, which I don't think is unreasonable considering the amount of cost, the amount of heartache, the embarrassment on the community. Like, take this, for example, Allison, what do you think would have happened if, let's say they found two loose white guys who were wearing Trump memorabilia at the time and got arrested?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that brings up kind of sort of the irony of all of this is that it started out as a case that was all about oppression, and it sort of turned out to be a case that's really reflected elitism and what you can do with the justice system if you're connected to the right people. So I think it actually proved the total opposite of how the narrative started. And I just think that's interesting.
Oh, for sure. And again, we knew it going in that he was not going to be a model prisoner. It was going to be I hate to say a pain in the ass, but he was a pain in the ass. I mean, this was something I was going to be bringing up in the show today. Jussie Smollett never slept in a bed with restraints in a cell. Jail officials dispute claims made. I mean, from day one, it was always, God, let him out. Oh my God, the trauma, the drama, that everything. It's like, there is nothing that this guy could do that did not involve just drama. And
yeah,
it's so frustrating because I was watching a video earlier today done by a friend of mine who his name's Spidey. He does hypnosis and magic and things like that. And he also does a lot of, he has a new channel called Behavioral Arts. It's very good. And he reads body language and things.
okay.
Do you remember 4 years ago when Logan Paul did the video in the suicide forest in Japan?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he did the apology tour. Well, about a week ago, he came back out, or he addressed it. Somebody asked him about it on a show. So here it is 4 years later. And it was really, really enlightening and actually pretty impressive because he talked about the fact that he made the apology and it was a case where he was still the same person, but he's making the apology. He knew everybody was mad at him, but he didn't completely understand what it was he did. And so he put out, as he put it, kind of a shitty apology. And then he put out another apology. He said, and then I look back and you have two shitty apologies there. And when they asked him, he said, to be honest, and this is going to really offend a lot of people, but that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me because my attitude, my career, my mentality, it needed a check. It needed the world to come in and say, stop it, knock it off. And it was a really fascinating thing to see somebody who you could see has markedly matured, like he's grown up in the time. At the time, I do think he felt bad. He's like, everybody's mad at me. I did something wrong. I don't completely get it. And everybody's being mean to me and they're threatening to me. And I can sort of see it's, kind of like a little kid. I mean, you have a daughter, right? And she gets in trouble. And does she look at you like, I know I did something wrong, but I don't completely understand what I did. And you have to deal with that.
I don't know. It depends on the day. Sometimes other days, it's just like, this is what she does to everything. It doesn't matter, what you just murdered the dog. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, they learn empathy. I mean, all children are sociopaths until they get old enough to get empathy. But I'm just sitting here thinking, what a lost opportunity because, like Logan Paul, even I will say his apology wasn't completely sincere, but he was trying to do the right thing and saying the right words. And then now he's sort of grown into the apology over the years, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wish we saw that with Jussie, and I just don't think we ever will. I think that you have the BLM folks and you have the enablers, and you're just stuck with this malignant parasite on society.
Yeah, maybe it's because like Logan Paul really didn't have a whole lot of support. I think he was bashed from all different sides, and maybe that was good for him. Like maybe he needed that. Even though I'd have sympathy for him. I mean, he was young and he grew up in a video world. I know like people in the TV world, we have to like remind ourselves that sometimes you're talking about a real situation that everybody else hasn't done this 175 times like you have. This is like, this is a one-time thing for everybody watching or for, the person you're talking to. And so I can understand how he ended up in that situation, but he had everybody against him. And maybe in a way that was what gave him the opportunity to do some self-reflection. Though sometimes Logan Paul says stuff nowadays that I'm like, I kind of miss the old Logan Paul, or like, I wish there was like a happy medium there. It's like,
don't confuse him with Jake, because Jake is kind of more of a lost cause out of the two.
Maybe, but I just like, can we bring back a little bit of that like old, just douchebag Logan Paul, just a little bit.
Oh, you got it all with Jake. Jake covers that and more.
Okay, maybe I should just let it slide then. By the way, if anyone wants to watch just hilarious podcast, from, I think it was probably about a year and a half ago or so, Theo Von had Tim Dillon and Logan Paul on, and it is one of the funniest podcasts, like groups of people talking, I have ever listened to. So just if you Google or whatever your search engine is, there was nothing Russian in it, so it should still come up in search results.
For today.
Yeah. Logan Paul, Theo Von, Tim Dillon. It's hilarious.
Which show was it? Was it Theo's show or was it Tim's show?
It was Theo's show. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. This past weekend,
Theo's an interesting character himself.
Gang, gang. That's what he always says. Gang, gang.
Okay, you're a fan.
I love Theo. I mean, I don't like always like love everything he does, but I think he's a fascinating, really interesting guy, and he comes across pretty authentic. And he had RFK Jr. on. I mean, come on, like for a comedian, that's and I got to give it to Tim Dillon too. He's had people like Whitney Webb on, so the comedians are kind of killing it in like the conspiracy world. If you know what I mean. Like compared to the mainstream news, they're like the ones that are willing to do the serious journalism, if you will. So I my hat's off to those guys for that anyway.
Okay, well, and there's a lot of drama in that community too, especially since they split out of California and Rogan moved the center to Austin.
Right, and then Tim Dillon moved there and bought a house, and then he was like, did this whole podcast about how Austin is just losers who can't make it in New York or LA. Come out of here. So he left and went back to LA.
Oh shit, that's funny. All right. Okay, so first story we have up, because I don't know if everybody does follow any of these other people, so I don't want to dwell on that. But we got a release. This is kind of an old story, new story, because this story came out in November, but I think James O'Keefe released this video like yesterday or today, so it's pretty new, about how the FBI is treating journalists, essentially. So let's just watch for a minute.
I'm sorry, so what is this regarding? This is the search warrant. Open up.
What you're about to see is very disturbing. Hidden camera footage capturing the moments the FBI,
of course, we have narration too,
of a Project Veritas journalist last November.
Which I'll decide if this is disturbing. I mean,
and do me a favor, you know the guy, so don't let them claim us on this, okay?
Normally, we don't say something is disturbing unless it's like you're going to see somebody get, beat the crap out of. So
yeah, he's definitely.
Oh, the producer brought me something.
Oh.
So I'll be right back. Keep going, Eric. I'll be right back.
All right, he's definitely projecting for sure.
My hands are
You're losing your right to. So once again, for our safety for yours, we're going to have you sit with you.
Okay.
You do not have to speak to them. You're not being detained for safety. We're supposed to see. There's a theater here. Your shirt, there's a powder. Are you comfortable on that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So there's another team coming. So maybe we'll split up until I hear you out.
Okay, chat, there's more there, and James is going to introduce this. I have to be honest. Do you find that disturbing, what you just saw? Or do you find that they move the camera around a lot? And usually when an agent says, are you comfortable with this? Are you comfortable with what you're wearing? Are you comfortable with that? That doesn't quite feel like an oppressive brown shirt encounter. I don't know. Did you watch this one earlier, Allison?
I have not watched it yet. I meant to, and then I ran out of time because my car broke down, as you know. I was planning on watching it when I got back. But if you just described it the way, it's just basically them busting into the place, and it's like a shaky camera and dark and stuff.
Yeah, it's like Blair Witch without the effects.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's like they pounded on the door. Okay, they pounded on the door. I didn't see anybody break anything down. I saw that there was like an agent. It looked like you were maybe rifling around the top of a counter in the kitchen or something. Let's go back a bit here.
Show it again. Show it again.
All right. So, yeah, I think he's. Oh, wait a minute. I got to put it on the screen, don't I? Sorry, guys. I always do that.
My hands are
You're losing your right to. So once again, for our safety and for yours, we're going to have you sit with you.
Okay.
You do not have to speak to them. You're not being detained for safety. We're supposed to see. There's a theater here. Your sheriff, yeah, there's powers. Are you comfortable on that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
So there's another team coming. Yeah. So
This is why you always got to keep your apartment clean. You never know when you're going to end up on FBI video.
Right.
No, I agree. And okay. Okay, somebody said disturbing.
That was not disturbing to me at all. Is that what was supposed to be disturbing?
Apparently, because now we've gone into another thing. You said, "Watch out! This is going to be disturbing." And now I am disturbed that they're there, but I don't.
The last time that I used that term, like when I was in journalism as a TV reporter, I believe was when I did this investigation into this illegal poaching thing that was going on, and we were literally showing video of like a guy with his dogs tearing bears apart, like their skin right off of their body. And we blurred it, but you still saw, it was just, so we're like, this could be disturbing for you. I don't know about this.
Right. Exactly. And by the way, I'm not trying to downplay. I don't like that the FBI is going into a journalist apartment at all, or house, or whatever it is, any dwelling. I don't like that. And I'm willing to admit all that's good, but I want to represent the video as what it is. And so far, not super scary, but we'll keep going.
Months ago, I explained how the government conducted pre-dawn raids at my home and at the homes of two former Project Veritas journalists. Many came to our defense, including the ACLU, the Society of Professional Journalists, the Committee to Protect Journalists, Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press, as well as the Freedom of the Press Foundation. Federal prosecutors...
Pause, because many of them also had caveats in there coming to their defense to basically say, listen, we don't really like James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, but the FBI shouldn't have done this. It was interesting. Almost every single one of them that, was like getting in there on like defending him also threw Project Veritas under the bus. So I wouldn't necessarily call them friends of Project Veritas.
Oh, no, I agree. But fine. I mean, look, Brandenburg versus Ohio, the ACLU defended literally, can't say the N-word, or that rhymes with Yahtzee, but apparently you can on Facebook. That's another story coming later. Anyway, but they defended them, and they were the first to say, we do not like them. And the Anti-Defamation League also said, we don't like them, but we don't want to censor them because we'll be next. So I get it. But so far in the video, all I see is people that have trouble working their camera. I don't see anything going on here that's really, really intimidating. And I feel like they're cutting it together, trying to make it feel that way, but maybe I'm projecting.
Appear to have targeted Project Veritas because of our investigative journalism. In 2020, we lawfully...
All right. Are we going to get to the actual stuff? Okay, now we got to add. And I'm with Talix on this in the chat, that I am disturbed that they're there. But
what you've just seen is an effort by the government to intimidate and silence us as journalists. But Project Veritas will never be silenced. The First Amendment protects journalists and all people who speak out. We will stand firm to vindicate our own rights. This footage of the FBI raid isn't even the most shocking thing.
I agree
about the SDNY's attacks against journalists.
Okay. Well, all right. So back to the chat. And I know it's going to piss a lot of people off that I say that. I mean, again, to qualify, don't like FBI there. Don't like them messing with journalists. But I would not have released this footage myself because I would worry, it looks like I'm underplaying what's going on. I would rather leave it vague and say they busted in and not have any kind of footage on it, because that just doesn't seem
or
like
just show the footage and be like, hey, if you wanted to see what happened, here it is. And then like, just tell us what it was like instead of, I don't know. But that's, to me, I mean, no offense, but that's a lot of Project Veritas. I think sometimes they do hit it out of the park with the way they build it up. And then other times they build it up and I watch it and I'm like, huh? So I don't know. I mean, hey, they're trying to sell their product. Like I don't blame them for that. I just, I also think like you should be able to, like, if you're somebody who wants to have better press, like you're somebody who's critical of the mainstream news, I don't think it's helpful to be like, but you can't question Project Veritas. And I think there are a lot of people that the second that you're like are worshiping them feel like you're somehow, I don't know, pro corporate news or you're, you know, a hack or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm just going to call a spade regardless of, you know, if there's hyperbole in mainstream media that, you know, causes hysteria unnecessarily or whatever else it is. I'm not saying that's what happened in this video, but I think you should just call a strike as it is, no matter who the team is, right? So I don't quite understand like the attachment there, other than the fact that, you know, they are kind of like an island in a sea of
and they do good work. I mean, don't get me wrong. They break a lot of good things and they do good work. I'm just saying that that video, I'm going, huh? And okay, KM, good point. No video easier to forget, except if the video doesn't look, everybody's pushing and framing a story is all I'm saying. And if your story doesn't have the strength or doesn't have the visuals, it can actually be counterproductive. That's all I'm saying. I agree on every point that they should not have been there. I don't like that. And let me see. So you would be a liar leaving it vague? I don't know about that. You could even have even less video and then just show, oh, here's an FBI agent. They came through the door and then stop it right there. Whatever. But I don't feel like it's as strong as it could be. I visualized, honestly, when I read the story, you know, Roger Stone, Steve Bannon, and I don't know if it was Giuliani, but I mean, remember they came in early morning raids, a whole ton of agents and all that, you know, which is some strong thing. You're like, wait, wait, you know, why are you doing that with these people? And I would like to, if I was in their boat, I would think I'd want to kind of keep projecting that same image.
Well, you mean of being the victim?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think they're thinking that that's what they did do by framing it in that particular, or maybe they just feel that way. I mean, listen, hey, if I can totally understand if it's me, I do feel like that would have been disturbing for me to have the FBI come in and raid my house, but it may not be disturbing for somebody else who's watching. Like, that's where I think the dissonance is for me. It's like, I'm not saying that wouldn't be disturbing for somebody who goes through that. I think it would be. Yeah. I just think I wouldn't put the disclaimer at the front of the video as if it's going to be disturbing for other people to watch. That I don't know. I totally understand. I wouldn't want that either. Like you said, I don't want that. I wouldn't want that. That would be scary as anything to have somebody bust in here. I totally get that. But yeah, like if you're going to present yourself as journalist, I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe we're spending too much on this one point.
Well, I guess because I'm looking at the viewers go up and down. And one person said right here, they report, you decide you don't care. Check. I didn't say that. Please don't put words in my mouth. I would have found it more powerful instead of James O'Keefe narrating it like that. What if he actually had the reporter talk, even off camera, even a blurry thing saying, I felt completely terrified as they invaded my house. I barely had gotten up. Whatever with the dog.
Right.
All of that. I think it would just been very, very powerful. Very powerful. So again, how many times have I said that I think it's wrong? I think it's bad. I kind of want to cheer them on. I want them to have a stronger message. That's all I'm saying. I am not downplaying it, saying that they don't have a message. So it's very frustrating when you folks say, oh, that I don't care. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I will move on to somebody I can tell you I absolutely don't care that much about at all. And a lot of this I find amusing. Chris Cuomo, though, is I mean, this is a fun one to watch because it's kind of like a repugnant person taking on a repugnant network, and you're just sort of like, no matter what happens,
it's a win.
Yeah, it is a win. You get some joy out of it.
Yeah. Well, I haven't read in depth on exactly what he's doing, but just from like the brief synopses that I've seen, I think it's interesting. First off, I think people should know you have typically in TV news contracts, there is some language that like you can't sue or you have to go to arbitration first. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's interesting that's what this is, right? That there were that it's an arbitration bid. I bet that's a contractual thing. And I don't know. I mean, I honestly this may shock people, but I don't know if I really think Chris Cuomo was wrongfully terminated. I think he probably was. I don't know all the details behind the scenes, but I'm just going to take a guess that like they were correct to get rid of him. But I also think they created him. So I think it's very hypocritical of CNN to let Chris run interference for his brother for months publicly on their channel. And
they aired it. They advertised it. They talked about it. Like they milked it.
And I mean, he said before, and like, again, who do you believe? I don't know. But he said before that they all knew what was going on. And I probably believe that. I mean, would it shock anybody?
How could they not? I mean, every other, they watch, okay, look, they report on Fox all the time, right? I mean, Brian Stelter, that's his whole reason d'etre or whatever, is to report on Fox that they're evil, and Tucker Carlson, take him off the air. Trump's gone, get Tucker. So, of course, they knew, because Fox was literally reporting everything as this is bad journalism, blah, 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 blah. So they can't sit there and say, oh, wow, I had no idea. Because every competitor was saying that.
They're trying. Yeah, they've been trying to. And so, I just find that incredibly, I almost think it's worse. It's like they're the backstabbing friend that, it's like what, I guess what's worse, the person who does the bad thing or the person who knew about it, participated in it, and then disowns the person that ends up taking the blame at the end. Like, who actually has less integrity? I don't know. I mean, I just find it, I guess, again, it's just hypocritical. And I don't blame Chris for going after him. I think his behavior was inappropriate. And we were saying that for a long time about him while he was still employed, because hello, he was doing all this stuff publicly. They were endorsing it. So I don't really quite understand. Like, he was doing public relations for his brother on CNN.
They were using it like a scoop. They were more than endorsing it, Allison. They were milking it. They were, remember, they were cutting off of Trump to his brother.
Right.
They were saying, look at these exclusives we have.
Yeah.
They were profiteering off of it. So I think he actually has a very strong case in the sense that, I think very little of him as a person. I don't, anything else. I think he's got anger management issues. I think he was a liar with COVID. His whole basement thing and threatening neighbors. But I do think he's actually right in the sense that, whoa, wait, they're going to fire me just because, the time's going to go bad with my brother. Oh, no. We're going to go down on this ship together. Yeah. And what are they going to do with Don Lemon? When our friend Barnes goes after him, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, he's not my go-to journalist or whatever you want to call him. But I do think they did him dirty. I mean, I think he did dirty too, but I think they did him dirty. I mean, I think he was part of, he took the heat at first, and they were like, oh, we don't know. I mean, Chris, we thought you were, we just didn't know.
We had no idea.
You violated our ethics policy, and we didn't. So that's why we're still here, and you're going. And then it's like, oh no, you guys did too. So
what is it? Tim Pool says, my stars and garters.
Yeah, exactly. Eric, I have time for one more quick one.
All right. Well, this is queued up, and good thing we coordinated ahead. You've obviously heard of the Babylon Bee.
Yeah.
And I imagine you've read that. Did you know that they have two things that are interesting? One, I just saw this recently. I don't know if it's them or somebody else who's hilarious, but there's the Babylon Bee Explainer Twitter account. So when the Babylon Bee puts out a story, one of the first tweets will be the explainer telling everybody what the joke is, which is a really sad state of affairs that we're in. So you have a parody story or satire going out, and then you have an explainer. But then they also have another channel called Not the Bee. And Not the Bee is fascinating because it is quite literally saying this is real news that literally could be a Babylon Bee headline. And this one is a beautiful, beautiful story.
Wow.
Nuclear war would kill tens of millions of people.
I got to do that for my channel separately, dude.
And would also prove disastrous for climate change, writes Robinson Meyer.
I don't even know what to say.
Is it not staggering? And here's the problem. Is so freaking crazy about it. There's a very real scary edge to it. Like, we can laugh in the hilarity, but did you know that some polls came out today at 36% of Republicans and 36% of Democrats both are favoring nuclear war at the moment?
What is wrong with these people?
I don't know. And I will say this too. The same mentality of the person who was worried about climate change is only worried about the climate change because the truth is, what do they say? It would kill tens of millions of people. I would argue that there are people in that mindset, so worried about the climate, who think we have too much population right now. And they may actually be okay with the tens of millions going down, as long as you could watch out for that climate problem, because we get rid of some of these people because we just don't like all these people, especially those deplorables and others. Yeah.
I was just listening to a podcast where they were, I can't confirm this because I haven't looked this up, but the guy was saying that Prince Philip, before he died, said something about how he would be okay if he came back as a deadly virus and killed people because the population is out of control or something like that. I mean,
he might have been cheeky.
Oh, somebody actually commented. I'm pretty sure they were serious. So I was like, that's not really I won't say the word. It's the eye drug, not I, but I.
Yeah. The other one.
Drug for not COVID. I don't want to say it. Okay. YouTube, do not strike Eric. I didn't say.
Yeah, you almost said a C word. And it's not the 4-letter one. That's probably okay.
Say corn on the cob. I was going to say corn on the cob. It's something you put on corn on the cob. Anyway, so, but basically somebody commented that they're glad. They're like, well, I'm glad people, because I did this spoof video giving it to my horse. And right. And because
how'd it go? You didn't get canceled?
Only for horses, which is stupid. But anyway, so this person goes, well, I'm glad people are taking horse medicine because it's fewer idiots out there. So I support it. And it's like, it's okay. Anyway, I didn't even really get, but I was like, you can debate whether it works for the corn on the cob, but you can't debate that it's only a livestock medicine. That's not up for debate at this point. It's clearly been prescribed to humans for other reasons for a long time. So that's
they won a Nobel Prize for it. Nobel Prize.
It's stupid, but anyway, but that was just another person I hope more people will die of this thing, this horse medicine, so that we'll have less people.
Okay. Somebody said Philip had black humor. I think that's for some reason with him, because I have read some stuff on that. He always got in trouble for saying shit.
Maybe. I did watch The Crown. He did seem like he was kind of an outsider.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. He was an interesting character in the sense, and to his credit, he went in and he supported Elizabeth, from what I understand, utterly and completely, and subjugated himself. And, like he had to give up his lineage with the Greek royalty and all that. Who, what?
JLP, what he would say about that?
Oh, beta. Yes, they would say he's a beta for sure.
Okay, on that note, I just got to tell everybody that, what's a great way to finish off a night of laid back news, formerly news with booze, is booze. And so you should go to AlisonWinePromo.com. AlisonWinePromo.com. You get 50% off my high altitude Argentinian Malbecs, which I was told is supposed to be high altitude Argentine Malbec. So I'm sorry, I always say it wrong. And 50% off shipping. So one from the oldest vineyard in Argentina and one from 9,000 feet. How could you pass that up? So if you're really depressed about everything that we talked about, Eric's about to talk about, the best way to get rid of that actually is a depressant. Okay, probably not. Maybe when you're not depressed and you're happy, then you would like to drink my wine. Either way, you should go to Alison Wine Promo. And don't forget, it's 1L, because I'm 1L of a gal.
Look at her ducking out at right when I'm going to go into
Thanks for promoting
Zelensky and war. Yeah. The fun stuff.
The thing that pairs best with war and geopolitics and all the arguing that comes with it is AlisonWinePromo.com. Bye. Have fun.
Bye.
Oh, and I should say to everybody also, I interviewed a guy from Russia, from Moscow, and it was a very interesting conversation. I'm posting it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We went for 2 hours, and I know like a lot of people will disagree with a lot of the stuff he says politically, but if you can detach yourself from your own opinion for a second and like listen to this person for 2 straight hours, I will say I walked away from it with a much deeper understanding of how somebody could, how somebody looks at Putin totally differently than the way he's sold to us here in the United States. Because I just have such dissonance there. I like I said to him, I've always been taught he's kind of like the Clintons. You just end up dead in the shower one day, and so I asked him all about that, and it was interesting to hear what he said about Trump too, and all that.
He
stuff.
liked Trump, probably. I have a feeling.
Yeah, and
he
I
loved
thought it was
Putin.
really fascinating. I mean, honestly, I walked away from that kind of saying the way that I'm hearing this is like they look at him, or not they, like all Russians or anything, but like people who are of this mindset do kind of look at him this in a very similar way as people who voted for Trump talked about him. And I don't know if that's going to piss some people off, but I heard a lot of similarities. So anyway, it's just interesting because I'm trying to get to different sides of it. I get beat up from everybody, so that's fine. I don't even know why I'm still doing this topic because it just makes me want to drink. Did I mention you should go to AlisonWinePromo.com?
Thank you, Sean Brim. I appreciate a test super chat. Regardless,
all right.
That's awesome. Thank you. And Allison, I totally get it. Keep in mind that
Allison got a lot of shit for her interviews, but she brings people we don't. Yeah, I do get a lot of shit for my interviews, dude. But that's all right. I'm happy because again, I can just go to AlisonWinePromo.com and drink away my sorrows. All right, bye.
See you. Thank you. Have a good one. All right. So, and now you're stuck with just me by myself. Me and a few headlines. But she does bring up a good point. There are many people in Russia, and they really do like Putin. We've actually gone in, American press has gone in and polled the Russian people and found out that, oh no, a lot of people here really like the guy, and he's come up on top of polls. I've actually heard a comparison that Russia sort of feels like Southerners. And I do want to point out some things. And I'm going to stay out of getting the whole if I say anything critical of the U.S. in it or whatever, then I'm automatically pro-Putin or whatever. And I think that's very, very frustrating. Isaac Bowles. Yes, sure. I wish a lot more people lived here. We could do meetups. Anyway, and thank you for the super chat. You can get a hold of me, EricHunley.com/contact. Anybody who wants to contact me, otherwise, I love to have people follow me in locals, sure, or whatever, but you can contact me for free through a contact page on my website, EricHunley.com/contact. Anytime I get emails in there all the time, and I do at a minimum read them. I may be slow to answer. I apologize for that, but I do read them, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everything from all of you, seriously. Anyway, I get a little frustrated because I'm tap dancing around some things and how I feel because I know folks will get upset. So I'm going to just go into this, and everybody take of it with what you will. And I hope you can appreciate my stance, whether you agree, disagree, anything else, because some people are going to say that Vladimir's just Putin's pure evil, psychopath, does nothing but evil things and eats children or whatever. I think there's a little bit more to it, but if we go into it, today there was Zelensky, and Zelensky addressed Congress. It was a very important moment. Now I'm going to start going into some of the issues that I have. And I don't think that they're completely unfair. One, maybe I'm misinterpreting something, but when he appeared on the screen, Congress did a full-blown standing ovation, and they went at it for a while. Now, what are we celebrating? Let's just step back for a second and ask, what are we celebrating? He's a world leader. He's having issues in his country. Whether we want to help him, not help him, or whatever else, what message are we sending when the entire Congress stands up and just starts applauding him like crazy? Is this helpful for diplomacy? And let me go a little bit further on this. We have a lot of countries in the world, and there are conflicts. By the way, there's other conflicts going on right now. I put out in locals and I said, hey, what do you guys want me to cover? One of the things people brought up was, hey, how about that war going on in Ethiopia? I'm not covering it. You know why I'm not covering it? Because holy shit, I had no idea. And I didn't have time because of my day job to actually catch up on it. But there's a whole war. By the way, it's been going on for a while. I didn't know. I had no freaking idea. So does that mean we don't care about Ethiopia? Yeah, probably. We probably don't. Press probably doesn't. That seems kind of sick. There's a lot of bombing going on in Yemen. Are we good with that? Oh, I don't know. Apparently, because all of our focus right now is on Ukraine. 100%. What's up with that? Now, let's go a little further. When countries are at war or they're having conflicts, what do we usually do as a country? And I was talking to my partner, Mark Robert, show plug, America's Untold Stories. I'm very proud of it, and I hope you check it out. But we were talking about this, and he was saying, why aren't we asking them to go to the table? And I could be wrong. Look, I can't read every story out there in every headline. I can't even read really a small fraction of it. But have any of you, and I'm asking the chat, have you seen the administration or Congress saying, hey, let's have some talks. Come on to Camp David. Come on here. Get to the table. We need to talk this out. Let's have some peace. Let's have some peace. Have any of you seen that? Because what I see, and I could be wrong, is escalation. I see arguments of whether we want a no-fly zone or we don't want a no-fly zone. I don't see any of us saying, let's pressure both sides to come to the table. And then when they come to the table, try to work out the most equitable possible result. I'm asking again, have any of you in the chat seen outreach that is saying, come to the table? Talk. People are going to die. I haven't seen that. Instead, I see things like, are we going to support them, not support them, give them arms, not give them arms? I have Hillary coming forth. I played this a week or two ago and saying, yeah, we want to do this like Afghanistan in 1980 because that's a fantastic deal, because that's going to put Russia in a mire and then that's going to weaken them. And we've got this little geopolitical chess. Now, here's my next question. And it's really, really important. Whatever side you're on and however you feel, we're going to give $800 million now to Ukraine. Fair enough. That's the decision. You're going to do it. Is that going to end the conflict sooner? Is that going to help the people? Who in the end here, who are being affected? Who are suffering directly, completely? And by the way, just so you, I don't like to pull out the personal, but I know somebody in Ukraine, and I'm very concerned about her and her family, and am trying to be very, very considerate. I just want the people to be okay. And by the way, all these goofy pauses and stuff is I'm really trying to think and put words in here. And Sean Brim, I know Sean, you're pretty from what I've seen, you're pretty upset, and I don't know if you're in favor of the conflict or escalating it. I know you're not happy with Russia or Putin from what I read. Fair enough. We went into Iraq and Afghanistan. It wasn't until after we had a history of annexing one of these countries. I don't quite understand the point that you're making, and I don't know if it's whataboutism, which, by the way, I don't like either because it's kind of newspeak. But what do you mean? And I don't think that our own crappy actions, which we've had a history of doing, by the way, which is kind of embarrassing. And I will say this: I did support the war in Iraq. Okay, I thought, yeah. Papa Bush didn't do the job, didn't finish the job. This is in the early '80s, and I thought that, Saddam Hussein, bad guy, killed a lot of his people, really, really bad guy. I read a lot of the press, and I thought, oh yeah. Now here's the irony. The justification for that was that we are going to find weapons of mass destruction. Well, we didn't. Okay, I think it's come out. It's clear. Everybody's admitted. Sorry, no weapons of mass destruction. Ironically, now we're going to get an argument, so I'm going to be very, very specific. And I'm going to say, ironically, there are biolabs in Ukraine that was brought forth by the Biden administration with concerns that the contents of those labs would fall into the hands of Russians. I think that's 100% accurate. And everybody can make of it what you will. But if it's harmless, and if it's no big deal, are we afraid that the Russians are going to be able to medically treat their people better if they get sick? Or is it perhaps there may be something there that is dangerous? And we're involved with it. Again, biolabs. I didn't say weapons. I didn't say any of that. I said I'll even say bio research labs. But very, very peculiar that Newland is concerned. Why are we concerned? Very curious. Very curious. Now, let's see. The only end of the conflict is going to be the removal of Russian forces from that. Perhaps. And I would argue, too, that Ukraine must never be part of NATO. I think that that's kind of a given. And before people get on me, just look back to our own history and see how well we reacted, and look at the Monroe Doctrine, and let's talk about the Cuban Missile Crisis and how we got a little annoyed when people were right up on our border. And ask yourself, if let's say Russia decided to put, they got along, had a good deal with Mexico, and they expanded into Mexico. They built some bases in Mexico. They're good friends, Mexico and Russia. Do you think we'd have a problem with it? Abso-freaking-lutely. And I think you have to be very intellectually dishonest to not admit that we would not want anybody on our borders. Now, am I excusing him invading Ukraine? No, I'm not. No, I am not. And let me see. Okay, Patty Leather. Yes and no. The world is better off without... Oh, sorry, I misread it. Actually, you may be right. I don't know. It's a hard one because Saddam Hussein was an evil tyrant, but there were many things under him that were being clamped down that got out, that became ISIS and things like that. Same argument actually can be made with Muammar Gaddafi. I would say even more so because Gaddafi was playing ball. Gaddafi was working with the CIA. Gaddafi essentially was completely betrayed by us and taken out. So that was a really, really, really ugly, ugly scenario. So, yeah, big, 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 big problem. And I hope you're being facetious, Howie Z. and here you're actually bringing up a very interesting point, though, Howie Z. Nukes used to be in Ukraine. This is not a quote third world country where they have to build that up. Even Iran has to build the centrifuges and everything else, and that, you know, there's some things to stymie a program. Ukraine has the nuclear infrastructure through the weapons in the former Soviet Union. All they need is the material. And boom, nuclear power, done. No muss, no fuss. They got it already. It's already set up, ready for them to go. That's going to be a big concern. Somebody's pointing out Gaddafi wanted to get rid of the dollar. Yes, there are some questions about that, Tardy. And I'm going to go a little bit out of my depth here because I don't understand it completely. So I expect, you know, corrections, and please comment below and help enlighten me because you guys are all smarter than I am. But what if for a second that we have a thing going on with central banking? I think everybody agrees that banks are very much a part of our world. And we have things, people who are called economic hitmen, and we tend to go into countries, we make deals with them, we offer them finances, things like that, but they have to agree to sign up with the banking system, preferably to hold the dollar as their value. And what if we really are working to a more unified government? I hate to use the new world order or any of that, because then it starts to sound conspiracy-ish, but let's back up a step and let's just say a very cooperative environment where everybody is on the same basic currency, kind of like the EU, right? A lot of countries, they all have their own cultures, quote unquote, but they share the same currency, same base, similar values, whatever, move around themselves. What if we think that we can push everybody in the world into that, and then you have a damned recalcitrant country, a freaking annoying former superpower who's saying, screw you. No, I don't believe in that. We are going to do this our way. We're not going to sign on to your central bank. You don't even like us. You've never liked us. So we're going to do our own thing. What if, right? And what if that country actually did have some influence, some swing? As a matter of fact, what if that country was, let's say, tied in second place in terms of arms dealings and things like to the world? Who's Russia tied with? Britain. Did you know that? Do you know that Britain and Russia are competing all the time? Did you know that Britain is very, very bellicose and very much, influential, shall we say, in our dealings? Now, of course, this is the same boring Britain that, well, have you heard of the CIA? Where'd that come from? We just developed that from scratch, right? Didn't even know what the hell that was. We just said, oh, we're America. We're going to create a new agency. You know that it's based on England, right? MI6 and all that they helped us establish it, that all the intelligence really comes out of there. Yeah. There's a big Ivy League element to it. And where are a lot of those Ivy League schools? What part of the country? What do you call that crazy part of the country? New something or another? Oh, England. New England. Funky coincidence, right? So we have a very strong partnership, at a minimum, with a country who for centuries has been mucking around in there. But even more recently, have you ever heard the term map makers? Who do you think designed Europe and the Middle East and all that stuff, especially at the World War I. Who did all that? England. Go figure. Thank you, Rikita Flaw. I think I'm speaking English. I hope I am. That's what they told me. But you know, sometimes I get sloppy, so you can say I'm speaking American. And I'm not trying to mock it, but yeah. It's I guess Michael Lorette is saying that I'm full of it. What? I hope you're teasing. Because Churchill actually did make a lot of maps. It's real. I'm sorry. Now, some would say it was good. Some would say it's bad. I'm not going to judge on it. I'm just saying it happened. So now let's go one step further. And we're going to go into our current, I'll say, cultural, social environment. Who are the bad guys in movies? Somebody help me out. Who are the villains in movies? Any kind of like spy movie, things like that. Who are the victims? I mean, who are the villains? Are they Middle Easterners? They were at one point, you know, because of the terrorism, and like we had 24. It did a little bit of that right around 9/11, but we're very concerned about, you know, cultures being picked on or embarrassed. So then we say, okay, we'll look at the Asians maybe a little bit. So but hold on the Asians, be careful now. Can't screw with China too much, especially because damn, there's a lot of people and there's a lot of money. And if you can make a movie a bestseller in China, you're printing money, right? I mean, come on, they have so many more people. Those are movie tickets. So we're going to go ahead and accommodate China. So shut up, be careful. China good, right? So we'll say, okay, well, it's North Korea. Okay. Nobody likes North Korea. So we're just going to say that it's the North Koreans. Yeah, okay, so we're good to go, right? Nope, can't do that. Why? Well, because let's be honest, a lot of people will be confused. And they'll say they have trouble telling the difference, or they're similar enough. So no, can't do that. Okay. Oh shit. Man, I really want to make a movie. I need a villain. I need a bad guy. Russia! It's Russia! They're all white males. No problem. And they sound weird anyway. And we never liked them to begin with. So Russia! And yes, stray right Christian men, because guess what? Russia has the Russian Orthodox Church. Very, very religious. Whew. All right. Dodged a bullet. I got our villains. Russians. And I thought about this whole thesis a little bit, and I was like, oh, wait. I'm watching a show called Designated Survivor. And I realized that this show actually proved my point. In this show, okay, we had some bad events in the world, right? And to be kind, the people who ran the show created new countries. So instead of North and South Korea, which I'm pretty sure is what they were representing for a major plot point, they had East and West, some other country. I forgot the name. My memory is terrible. Okay, so forgive me. And then they had another country in the Middle East, which is another made-up name because, again, we're not going to pick on any country. But guess what? There was one country that they named by name. And they did have us a bad guy in the plot. Russia! Because that's okay. And we can pick on Russia. Isn't that great? See, we're good to go. We've got our perfect bad guys. And so now we have somebody. Oh, God, such a relief. We could pick on Russia. thank you so much, because it would be terribly, terribly frustrating if I did not have any country that I could just, freely go pick on. And so now I even have another option, because I can also pick on Southerners in the United States, because, nobody likes Southerners, do they? Dumb rednecks. Southerners. Yeah, whatever. Piss off. Don't like them. Don't care about them at all. But you know what? It is a problem. It is a problem. So there's some people. There's some people who are in Ukraine right now, and it depends on who we're talking about. The same congressmen who are okay with them. They were complaining about them a few years ago. Really inconvenient kind of group, and they're currently in Ukraine. So fortunately, we can fix things, though, because you see, we banned the particular group. This is called the Azov Battalion, and they're a Ukrainian neo-Nazi group. Because here's the irony: now you can say the word on Facebook and otherwise, but I don't know if YouTube got the memo, so I can't say the word here, folks. So people are going to have to read, they're going to have to guess on their own. But coincidentally, oh boy, that same group that was banned from Facebook, we're going to temporarily lift that ban. And we're going to go ahead and say, oh, well, they're okay. We're okay with them. And by the way, I am saying that this is wrong all the way around. They also did temporarily allow users to say death to an Iranian leader also in the past, which I also find despicable. Again, if you're going to have a policy, stop this shit. Stop it. This is what's proving to be a lie. Now, of course, I already saw in the chat who was it that was saying it. I knew it would come. It's already scrolled by. Somebody did a hashtag stand with Putin. So because I'm pointing out hypocrisy, that automatically means label me as standing with somebody. Does that seem like a truthful thing? And oh, come on now. Come on, Sean. Come on, Sean. Come on, Sean. You're a bright dude. I've heard from you a lot. No. Don't give me the whole there's only 1/10 of them or whatever. They know they're there. They're very, very important to it. They haven't been run out. So yeah. No. And you're not sure that he's actually anti-Nazi. I believe he is, because Putin, if you go in to look at his family history, he's lost family there. Where he's from, the Nazis and Russians didn't get along. Remember who our allies were in World War II. Keep that in mind. So again, I'm not excusing Putin for invading the country, but I am terribly, terribly frustrated when we are 100% bellicose on one direction, and we will not deviate in any way. We're helping to escalate a situation. People themselves who probably hate Putin, they're suffering under him. Okay? He's attacking their country. These people are suffering. They're horrible. It's a horrible situation. They're the ones hurting. I can sit here and bloviate all I want. Doesn't affect me directly. But it damn sure affects them. And I just want to ask, does it benefit us for this to drag on? And if we think that it only benefits us because we want to harm another country or another people, I don't know. It's kind of disappointing. kind of disappointing. So, on that note, it's kind of dark, right? Dark subject. So, I think to pull this out, we all need to feel better about ourselves. And I cannot think of anything or anyone better to do this, to help us feel motivated, than our illustrious First Lady. Oh, wait, no, that's what Biden called her. No, our illustrious Vice President. And the Federalist, who I don't always agree with, did put together a nice little piece. And we now have Kamala Harris motivational posters. So to start off with, everybody, it is time for us to do what we have been doing. And that time is every day. Okay. So everybody, you're winning, right? You're doing what you're doing every day. So stand up, stand proud. Kamala says, that's action. I feel motivated completely. Thank you so much. Let's see. Do we have another one? All right. All right. Let's see. We have some deep wisdom coming here. We have the ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen. Okay. I freely admit I'm not that bright. I just told you guys, you're all smarter than I am. Okay, so let me see. We have the ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been. Okay, so I guess we have the ability to see something that's actually happened in front of us. Okay, sure, all right. And then we can to make the possible actually happen. Okay, I give it up. Kamala should be working in the corporate role. I'm telling you. Have you guys read some of the corporate doublespeak? Because this is a non-statement, okay? At least the first one sort of made sense. All right, so here we go. Whew, I'm getting ready, folks. All right, number 3. We must work together to see where we are headed, where we are going in our vision for where we should be. But also see it as a moment to, yes, together, address the challenges and to work on the opportunities that are presented by this moment. Okay. Wow. I'm not even going to parse it. All right, let me see. What else do we know about this population? 18 through 24. They are stupid. Oh. It's very, very, very interesting because I would argue that probably a vast majority of them are smarter than you, Kamala. And I'm very ageist and cynical. So let's try this again. Oh, yes. Everybody, I'm sure you've seen this one. This was the deep, profound wisdom of Kamala Harris. Whew, thank God. How I think Howard Zinn is dead now, and we don't have his, wonderful teaching. So, all right. Fortunately, here you go, everybody. Are you ready for a geopolitical history and geography lesson all in one? I mean, it's so powerful what we get in one quote. Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong. Whew. Wow. That one is profound. Thank you, Kamala. I didn't realize that a bigger country invading a smaller country was wrong. And thank you so much for, oh man. I feel like my education is complete because I did fall short. I never graduated from college or anything like that. So, you know, having Kamala, who's a lawyer. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for filling me in. So let me see. All right. What do we have next here? Oh, okay. So we're concerned about people. You're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities who don't. There's no Kinkos. There's no Office Max near them. Holy shit. Oh my God, folks, I didn't know that. There are parts of our country that don't have copy machines. The horrors, the humanity. Because you do know that you can only go to Kinko's or Office Max to make a copy or to fax it. They oh my God. And they can't actually go to the post office and they can't hold it up. Oh man. Yeah. I'm trying to end this on a high note and Kamala is making this tragic. It's killing me here, folks. All right, let me see. Anything else? Let me see. It's time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. This is kind of repeat, but it's a little more succinct. Still love it. It's still very, very profound to say absolutely nothing with folks. All right. When folks vote, they order what they want. And in this case, they got what they asked for. I went off script a little bit. All right. Whew. We all watched the television coverage just yesterday. That's on top of everything else that we know and don't know yet, based on what we've just been able to see. And because we've seen it or not, doesn't mean it hasn't happened. Okay, folks. On that one, I'm going to cut out because I don't know, based on what you've seen or didn't see tonight, if this even happened. But if you think it did and you like what it did, give it a sub. Tell a friend. And I'll see you next time.